Let me set the stage for you. The Member of Parliament from Provencher wasted time to discuss the challenges of drinking a triple-thick strawberry milkshake through a straw, and about his love of muscle cars, including the Chevrolet Vega.
This guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
I rise today in my capacity as Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources. And in this capacity, I hold a responsibility to ensure the advancement of our legislative agenda in vital areas of public policy, including the future of our energy system. I want to make it very clear, Madam Speaker, as I near the end of my time, that we have an important choice to make today. We can choose, as the Conservatives have, to waste our time waxing poetic about the days when it was easier to sip triple-thick milkshakes through a straw and drive around in muscle cars that weren't even built in Canada. Or we can choose what Canadians want, what workers want. We can choose to work to build an economy for the future, including ones that have workers at the table as we decide those next steps. We can choose the economy where we're building the cars here in Canada, with skilled jobs and workers and investments that are being made right here. We have that opportunity to be creating good-paying, often union, jobs right here. And it can be about developing the energy here in Canada, the energy that the world wants, like offshore wind in the Atlantic provinces. That's going to be the energy that powers our future and creates good-paying jobs. To me, Madam Speaker, as I stand here, the Liberals have made this choice very clear.
Brief question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Parliamentary Secretary, regarding the 1% of Canadian oil and gas companies that have 500 or more employees, and also given the fact that it's traditional oil and gas pipeline and oil sands companies in Alberta that are currently leading the creation of new union jobs in Canada, what does she have to say to all of them about when the aim of the just transition, just like the Bloc member rightly pointed out these NDP Liberals are trying to hide, the aim of the just transition is to shut down oil and gas in Canada as quickly as possible. So what does she say to all those union workers in Canadian oil and gas companies where those new jobs are being created at the highest rate of any company or sector in any place in the country in Alberta, to all of those who are also going to lose all their jobs immediately because of this just transition agenda?
Honourable Parliamentary Secretary, 20 seconds.
Madam Speaker, once again, I'll listen to the workers who are talking about this bill, and maybe if I could quote the President of the Alberta Federation of Labour, that said, what Conservatives are saying in these committees and hearings and on social media is that this bill is a blueprint for the phase-out of oil and gas. But nothing could be farther from the truth. That's the President of the Alberta Federation of Labour. He represents the workers on the ground.
Resuming debate, the Honourable Member for Lakeland.
Well, Madam Speaker, that was a spectacle. I would suggest that if the Parliamentary Secretary to Natural Resources can't understand the connection between plastic straws and fuels for vehicles that Canadians like and want to drive, then that says all we need to know about their lack of understanding about oil and gas development, how this all actually works in Canada and the world, doesn't it? Today, make no mistake, is a dark day for Canada's democracy. Unfortunately, these dark days are increasingly frequent under the NDP Liberal coalition government. After 8 years, I, like growing numbers of Canadians, can't help but reflect on how far away, quiet, dim, and so obviously empty were the promises of sunny days, sunlight is the best disinfectant, open by default, and collaboration with other parties, provinces, and all Canadians, no matter where they live or who they are. The truth is that after 8 years, the Information Commissioner says transparency is, quote, not a top priority for this NDP Liberal government. She says systems for transparency have declined steadily since this Prime Minister took office in 2015, that this government is the most opaque government ever, and sounded ever-increasing alarms about the closed-by-default reality.
Ms. Haiju, seconded by Ms. Guerra, moves that notwithstanding any standing order or usual practice of the House, Bill C-50, an act respecting accountability, transparency, transparency, and engagement to support the creation of sustainable jobs for workers and economic growth in a net zero economy shall be disposed as follows. Pendant l'étude.
A. During the consideration of the bill by the Standing Committee on Natural Resources.
2.
1. The committee shall have the first priority for the use of House resources for the committee meetings.
2. All amendments be submitted to the clerk of the committee by 4 p.m. on the sitting day following the adoption of this motion. 3. Les amendements.
3. Amendments filed by independent members shall be deemed to have been proposed during the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill. 4. The committee shall meet at 6:30 p.m. on the second sitting day following the adoption of this motion to consider the bill at clause-by-clause, and if the committee has not completed the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill by 8:30 p.m., all remaining amendments submitted to the committee shall be deemed moved. The chair shall put the question forthwith and successively without further debate on all remaining clauses and amendments submitted to the committee, as well as each and every question necessary to dispose of the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, and the committee shall not adjourn the meeting until it has disposed of the bill.
5. A member of the committee may report the bill to the House by deposing it with the clerk of the House, who shall notify the House leaders of the recognized parties and independent members, and if the House stands adjourned, the report shall be deemed to have been duly presented to the House during the previous sitting for the purpose of Standing Order 7611.
B. Not more than one sitting day shall be allotted to the consideration of the bill at report stage, and 15 minutes before the expiry of the time provided for government orders that day, or when no member rises to speak, whichever is earlier. Any proceedings before the House shall be interrupted, and in turn every question necessary for the disposal of the said stage of the bill shall be put forthwith and successively, without further debate or amendment, and if a recorded division is requested, the vote shall not be deferred.
C. Not more than one sitting day shall be allotted to the consideration of the bill at the third reading stage, and 15 minutes before the expiry of the time provided for government orders that day, or when no member rises to speak, whichever is earlier. Any proceedings before the House shall be interrupted, and in turn, every question necessary for the disposal of the said stage of the bill shall be put forthwith and successively without further debate or amendment, and if a recorded division is requested, the vote shall not be deferred.